Okay, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. That was kind of sporadic. I was like, what's up? How are you? I'm doing better. I don't even know where to start with this video. As you guys can tell, I'm no longer in Hawaii. I am back home in Boston for a little bit. And it's like, it feels weird because like I'm home, but I also feel kind of out of place. Like it's the weirdest feeling ever. But yes, I am here and I'm telling you the story of how I caught a rare disease and had to basically flee the state of Hawaii. That's not a joke, that's not clickbait. The disease that I caught, the sickness that I caught, it's a disease actually. The disease that I caught is really rare. I had to come back earlier than expected because I basically died. So this story technically starts on March 15th. It started with me and Caitlin's friend Ryan. He came to visit us out in Hawaii. I was super hyped. I was like, oh my god, social interaction. My friends are coming to visit. Like, this is gonna be the best time ever. Let's fucking go. So that day went super well. We all just kind of hung out. Ryan got to the house. We were so hyped. We gave him a lei. Like, we were having a great time. So Caitlin sits me and Ryan down and was like,
hey, tomorrow we're gonna go to this super cute waterfall
with our friend Mahana, who's a local to the island. So we all wake up the following morning. We hop in Mahana's car and we head on over to the waterfall, or the scene of the crime, I should say. We all get to the waterfall, and if you've ever been to a waterfall or like been to Hawaii in general, you know nothing is really like simple to get to. You can't really just park your car and walk 2 inches over to a waterfall. Like, that's just not how it works. You literally have to like hike to it. So we get out of the car and we prepare for our hike. We start walking through this wide open field. It was beautiful. It looked like we were filming The Sound of Music too. Like, it was absolutely insane. And as we're walking, you know, we notice that there's animals around. You know, with open land comes wild animals, especially in Hawaii. And with wild animals comes, you know, animal feces. That's so gross, but I have no other way to even... There was animal shit all on the floor. Like, that's just what it is. And it wasn't like little like pellets. It was big old piles of like cow shit. That is just so gross. Ew. So we're walking through, like, dodging the cow shit, like, or we thought we're walking through streams. Like, there's like this river you had to cross. You had to scale down a mountain to get to this waterfall. Like, you know when you like put the ropes up and you have to like propel down something? You had to do that. And then finally, after our long Star Trek journey, we got to this waterfall. Now the waterfall was so cute. I didn't go swimming in it. Like, I know about like Hawaiian like waterborne diseases, so I thought I was being a safe girly and I thought I was gonna be the one that was like not getting sick, not getting a cold, so I didn't go in the waterfall. After that, we head on up, we go back to the car, we're chilling, everything's good. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. So the following day, Sarah flies in, so we're finally all together, we're ready to have a good time. I noticed that my legs started to like ache. So initially in my head, like, I thought it was just because of the hiking we did. I was like, oh my god, my legs are so sore. Is anyone else like really fucking sore from this hike? Like, holy shit. And everyone was like, yeah, like my legs are kind of sore. Like, yeah, my legs are kind of like achy, like, I guess. And I'm like, okay, cool. Didn't think anything of it. But it was a red flag. Also, that next day, I noticed that I had a cut on my ankle because I was wearing one of those like Hawaiian like shell anklets that I bought a few days prior.
Okay, so quick funny slash weird story about the anklet that I'm talking about in this. So a few days prior, I bought that at like a little shack outside of a coffee shop, and the whole time I was getting these sketchiest vibes, and I was so paranoid that the guy was gonna scam me, and there was no need for me to think that. Like, it was like a nice little place. But I literally made the man print out my receipt and email it to me because I was so paranoid this guy was gonna scam me, and I never do that. Now looking back, I'm like, maybe it was just the universe saying, bitch, don't get the anklet because ultimately you're gonna contract a disease from it.
So I wore that anklet on the hike, and I guess while I was hiking I was like kicking my like ankles together or whatever, and I was sitting down at the hot tub with Caitlin and Sarah, and I was like, ew, my ankle looks infected. You know, when a cut gets infected, it's just like a little green like bubble. At this point, me, Caitlin, Ryan, and Sarah, we were all hanging out at Ryan's friend's house. She has like a summer house on the island, so I was looking through her stuff to try and find like alcohol or something to clean off my leg, but I couldn't really find anything. So I was just like, whatever, like it's just a cut on my leg, like I've had infected cuts before, like it'll be fine. So I didn't clean it out. Second mistake. So that day comes and goes, nothing really out of the ordinary, like I said, other than my leg pain, but everyone else said that they were kind of sore too, so I was like, okay, like whatever. So the next day, actually, we all had plans to go swimming with dolphins and cliff jumping at this local spot that me and Caitlin knew of, but when I woke up, I kind of wasn't feeling myself. Like my body had still been hurting. I felt like really like uneasy, like my head was so foggy and just like I couldn't think straight, and I just didn't want to be that bitch that like brought down the mood. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I told my friends like, hey, like you guys just go, I'm gonna stay here and kind of just like relax, I guess. And it was weird because I remember Sarah asking me like,
hey, like, are you sure? Like, do you just not feel good? Like, what's going on?
and I was like, no, like I feel fine, like I'm just like really overwhelmed. I think I'm just not feeling myself. I'm like, my body still kind of hurts from that hike, like I just like don't want to bring down the mood, so I'm gonna stay. And she was like, okay girlie, like if you need anything, just let us know. And I was like, all right, I'll let you know. That day they all head out at like 7 a.m. and I'm hanging out at the house by myself. I'm still not feeling like sick though, like I'm feeling like high energy, pretty good. That day I was planning on filming like a Hawaiian mansion day in my life. I wanted to film a video because I was also stressed about not filming anything. I'm like having a good time, like I'm in the pool, I'm in the hot tub, dancing around, I'm making smoothies, I'm having a good time. Something I noticed though as that day went on was that my leg pain was getting so extremely bad. I remember at one point I was laying down on one of the like pool chairs and I was eating a Kit Kat and my legs just started to hurt so bad. And when I say hurt, I mean like if you've ever had growing pains or like that kind of like achingness, like they just started to ache. They started to hurt so bad that I literally started Googling, do I have diabetes? And like, was I going into like diabetic shock because I was eating this Kit Kat? So I'm sitting there just being like, okay, like what the fuck, like why do my legs hurt this bad? Like my legs are hurting, my neck's starting to hurt, like this is fucking weird. So that day comes and goes, next day comes, I'm still just feeling kind of like gross. The night rolls around, we all look at each other and we're like, bitch, like let's go skinny dipping in the ocean. We all get to the beach, you know, I'm feeling fine, like we're literally just like swimming around in the ocean like butt naked. We're all like crying at this full moon talking about Mac Miller. As we start like winding down and we're just like all laying there on the sand, I realize like I'm like kind of zoning in and out of like consciousness, and I'm like, ooh fuck, like I'm not doing good. I also had some drinks that night, so I also thought like, am I gonna throw up right now? Maybe like drinking was not the best choice when I'm not feeling my best. So I look at Caitlin and Sarah and I'm like, bitch, I gotta go back to the house. When I got back to the house, I realized that I had gotten my period. In that moment, I was like, yes, bitch. I was like, yes, like this makes so much sense. Like this is why my body's hurting. This is why I'm not feeling myself. This is why I have migraines. This makes sense. So I just totally disregarded the fact that like my muscle aches had been so much worse than they've ever been with my period. I disregarded literally everything. And I was like, okay, got my period, makes sense. Now this next day is when things really took a turn for the worst. This is the day that Ryan and Sarah leave. That morning, I woke up with the weirdest bump behind my ear, and I was like, that's not really normal, is it? It felt like a lymph node, but it was like smaller. Like it felt like there was like an M&M behind my ear, and I thought maybe it was a bug bite, like maybe it was like a lymph node, like maybe I was getting sick, like I don't freaking know. So we all get dressed, we all pack up our bags, we take Ryan and Sarah to the airport, we drop them off, me and Caitlin go back to our house, and as soon as we get back, we immediately like knock out. Like we just take the fattest naps of our lives. Now this is the part of the story where shit hits the fan. Shit didn't even, like, shit hit the fan so hard, it might as well have hit the solar panels on that house, because wow. Now, I just want to say, I want to thank God, the universe, my literal central nervous system, like, that I decided to break down in the sickness and like get sick like once my friends left. If what happened to me happened when my friends were here, I would have felt just so bad. Like I would have been like, oh my god, I'm ruining your vacation. I'm such a piece of shit. Like I'm so sorry. But thank God it happened like immediately after they left. So I wake up from this nap and Caitlin's not in the room. I get up and I immediately start convulsing, like not shaking, like not like a slight little burr, like I'm cold. I was like shaking, like I was on X Games mode, like I was on move, shake, drop mode, like I was just going through it. And I'm like, fuck, I'm sick. So immediately I get out of the bed, I go to the kitchen to try and get some water, you know, like get some fluids. I'm like shaking my way to the kitchen, like I'm literally just like oh my god, like literally like dying. The man that I was staying with looks at me and he's like,
wow, you're really sick, aren't you?
and I'm sitting there just with my glass of water, just trying to like drink it, like literally spilling water everywhere. And he's trying to talk to me about me getting my hair done, going to Oahu because his ex-wife's gonna do my hair for Coachella, whatever. I'm like, I need to talk to you about this at a later date and time because I'm going through it right now, if you can't tell. So I get my water, I'm shaking back to my room, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a shower. Like I just need to stop shaking. So I'm gonna try and warm myself up, which is probably a bad idea, and it probably sent my temperature through the roof because I didn't realize that when you're like shaking so much and you're really cold, it's really because your temperature is really high. It didn't really cross my mind at that point. I get out of the shower, I go back into my room, still just shaking beyond belief. If you didn't know I was sick, like you would think I had AirPods in and I was just listening to Shake It by Metro Station and I was just getting down. So I lay back down in the bed and I'm trying to collect myself, just trying to stop shaking. And then in walks Caitlin and Kayla. They walk in just giggling, like they're just giggling, having a good time, bless their souls. And they see me and they like go pale because they are just shook that I went to bed and I was completely fine, and I woke up and I looked like I like resurrected from the dead. Kayla looks at me and she goes, oh my god, what's wrong? And I just look at her and I'm like, yeah, like I'm sick, you know, like I got the flu or something, like I'll be fine. And she's like, no, oh my god, I need to take your temperature, like what the fuck. So she goes and she looks and she's looking for like a thermometer. Surprise, the house didn't have a thermometer because why would it? So we text the guy that we were living with and we're like, hey, please get a thermometer and some Gatorade because Caitlin is dying. So finally the thermometer comes, Kayla comes back in the room, she gives me my Gatorade and everything, and she takes my temperature and my temperature is at 102.8. Automatically, Kayla and Caitlin say, Caitlin, you need to go to the hospital. Like, you need to go get medicine or you need to find out if it's the flu. You just need to know what's going on. And I'm like, guys, I'm cool. Like, I'm cooling. Like, I'm chilling. Like, I'm whatever. I'll be okay. My temperature has been higher than this before. Let me just sleep it off. I'll take some NyQuil. I'm like, please, I don't really want to go to the hospital. I'm the type of person who, like, I'd rather just, like, try and cure it on my own. You know what I mean? I didn't think I was dying. I didn't think it was serious. Surprise. So they're like, all right, sis, like we'll respect what you want to do. Please let us know if you need anything. And I wake up the next morning and I am just in distress. I've just felt the shittiest that I have ever felt. Little did I know it was going to get worse. My neck was so stiff. My legs, I couldn't stand up. Like anytime like I would try and walk, my legs just felt like they were going to crack underneath me and I was gonna fall like to the floor. My temperature was still through the roof. It was still like 102, 103. Inside of me somewhere, like I was like, I don't think this is the flu. I've had the flu many a time and I didn't really have like any of the other flu symptoms. I wasn't like vomiting or I didn't have a runny or stuffy nose. I wasn't coughing. I'm like Googling shit. I come to this like, I thought it was like a realization. Like I came to this like conclusion that I had meningitis because you can get meningitis from like really high temperatures or something, and like the main symptom of meningitis was stiff neck. And at this point I had a really stiff neck, like I couldn't even like move it like this much. Like I just like my head was just like could not move it. So I call Kayla in the room and I'm like, dude, like what if I have meningitis? And she's like,
what?
So she starts Googling too and she's like, oh shit, like oh my god, like Caitlin, I really think you should go to the hospital just so you can get like answers to see if it is the flu and like you can stop worrying and stop Googling and doing all this shit. So I'm like, okay, let's fucking go. So Kayla has been living on the island for a while. So all her friends, my friend Mahana, they were all telling us, don't go to the hospital that is near you. There's 2 main hospitals on the island, and one was like 15 minutes away from us and the other one was an hour away. Everyone says, don't go to the one that's 15 minutes away. They will literally let you die. It's the worst rated hospital. Like, it has like literally 2 stars. So we were like, okay, like I guess we'll go to the other one. Everyone says it's like a little bit better, but it's an hour away. So keep that in mind, that every time in the story that I go to the hospital, Caitlin or Kayla drove me an hour. So me and Caitlin get into the car. At this point, I'm not at my I'm not on my deathbed. I'm still making jokes with Caitlin. I have some vlog clips I'm gonna put in of like, or me and her joking. I'm like, what's up, Jake Paulers? Like, we're about to do a cafeteria mukbang at the ER room. Like, I'm just like, whatever, like I'll get through it. It's the flu. It's the flu, baby. I didn't have my flu shot this year. It's the flu, baby. Like, what's up?
What's up, Jake Paulers? All right, so
we're at the emergency room because I'm gushing blood on my toe.
That's not why we're at the emergency room. Am I even speaking English? I don't even know. So me and Caitlin just drove an hour to one of the only hospitals on this island, because apparently the other one has like 1 star. I should have did that for a video. Oh. But I'm at the emergency room right now because I started getting sick and I thought it was the flu, but it's been lasting for a while now, so I think I have meningitis. Ooh, I'm so hot.
Do you see me suffering here?
So we get in there, I get seen pretty quick. They take my blood. The nurse comes back in and she goes, hey girly, what's up? So you don't have the flu, but you do have a virus that we don't know what it is. And I'm like, oh, fucking sick, okay. With viruses, most of the time, you can't treat them with antibiotics. You just have to let them run their course and just pray that they don't get worse. And then the nurse looks at me and she starts asking me these like weird questions. Like, so what part of the island do you live on? Have you been in any, you know, mosquito-ridden places recently? And I'm like, huh, okay, you know, maybe. And she goes, huh, okay, so we're gonna test you for this thing called dengue fever. It hasn't been seen on this island in a while, but your symptoms look like it, so we're gonna take some more blood and we're gonna test you for that. She's just making it sound like so like nonchalant. Dengue fever, you can look it up. It's basically like a mosquito-borne virus, mosquito-carried virus, I don't know. So they take more blood, they send it out for a test. They're basically like, okay, the test will come back in 7 days, and if you have it, we'll contact you, but if you don't, you won't hear from us again. As I'm leaving the hospital, they're taking my vitals, like my discharge vitals, where they take like your blood pressure and your temperature and everything. And the guy looks at me as he's taking my blood pressure and he goes,
is your blood pressure always this low?
and I look at him and I'm like, no, like not really. Like, and I remember if your blood pressure drops with any virus, I like know that you're supposed to seek help. And he just looks at me and he's like, huh, okay, well here are your discharge papers and you are free to go. So I go home. They didn't give me any medicine for it. They just said keep taking Tylenol, like keep drinking fluids, do whatever you're doing, it'll pass. And I wake up the next morning and I am just feeling 10 times shittier than I was the previous morning, and I was like, oh fuck, like I thought yesterday was my lowest point, but surprise. I was looking up severe dengue symptoms, just making sure that like I didn't have anything that would cause me internal damage. Like I was just making sure like I didn't have anything that was like a red alert. But I did. Some of the severe dengue symptoms include like severe abdominal pain, persistent vomiting with blood in it, nosebleeds. That afternoon I started getting really bad stomach pains. I started vomiting. I just felt so uneasy, and the doctors just didn't seem like they like knew anything. They didn't give me any information. Like they didn't really try to ease my mind at all. They just kind of were like, yeah, like you probably have this like really rare disease, but like take Tylenol, like bye. Later on that night, it's like 11 o'clock. I get up and at this point I like cannot walk. I like make my way to the bathroom and I start persistently vomiting. Boys, hit me, like hit me up, like whatever. So I literally started like vomiting so much, like it was just disgusting. I'm the type of vomiter, if you were wondering, that when I start puking I don't like looking at it, but I was like, no, like I need to look to see if there's blood or anything in this because that would be dangerous. So I look down and what do you know? There is blood in it, baby. Like if you thought I couldn't get any cuter, like So I walk out into the living room where Caitlin was. She's like editing, like doing her thing, and she looks up, takes her headphone out, and she's like, "You good?" And I'm like, "Pack your bags, boys. We're going back to the hospital." We head on over to the hospital for the second night in a row. At this point, like, I'm not like joking around anymore. Like, I'm in serious pain. I even make Caitlin like wheel me to the emergency room, like from the like front entrance, like in a wheelchair. So we get to the emergency room and everyone just like nonchalant. Like, I am just this young girl in severe pain, like trembling, just in distress, like basically with the look on my face like, "Help me, like please, like help me, like I'm going through it." They wheel me back and they're like, "Okay, like since you said you threw up blood, we're going to do a CAT scan on you. We're waiting on the results." She hooks me up to an IV. She gives me like fluids, she gives me morphine, and she gives me something for like nausea so I don't puke up any more blood. She was being so fucking rude. This lady, she was like rude, but like there's a ruder lady in the next hospital visit. Like, don't worry, we'll get to her. So my blood comes back first and they're like, "Okay, so here's what's happening. You have a low blood platelet count," which I don't know what that means because no one explained it to me, but I know it's not good. And then my liver enzymes were extremely high, which is not fucking good. So they were telling me when that happens, your liver becomes inflamed, and at this point, like, you shouldn't take any more medication because it just like hurts your liver. I don't know how it all works. No one explained anything to me, but they tell me all this and I look at Caitlin and I'm like, fuck, like shit. At this point, like, I had been like crying so much and just like so freaked out over the whole situation because like when the doctors say like, "You have a virus, your liver's inflamed, your blood platelet thing is really low," and no one can tell you how to get better, you just start like freaking out. So I'm on the phone with my mom once the doctors leave and everything, and they tell me this, they're just letting my IV run, and I tell my mom and she's like, "Okay, well they should be admitting you, like you should see if you can be admitted just for like observations." And I'm like, "Okay, like you're so right, like I don't really want to go back to the house, like I'm like scared, like I want to be seen." And Caitlin's on the phone with like her family too, and they're like saying the same things. So the doctor comes back in and they're like, "Okay, like we're gonna discharge you, we're gonna give you some Tylenol with some hydrocodone," even though they told me not to take any more Tylenol because my liver was inflamed. "We're gonna give you some nausea medicine and you'll be all set." And I look at the doctor and at first I'm being really nice and I'm like, "All right, like listen, like can you please admit me just for like observation? I just am scared at this point, like I don't know what's going on in my body. You're telling me all these things are wrong, but then you're sending me home with medicine that you just told me not to take. Like I'm just so confused, like please." And he's like, well, no, like you have no real reason to be admitted. We don't think it's dangerous, you know, even though your fucking liver's inflamed and your stomach's inflamed and like your blood platelet's really low and like your blood pressure's really low. You're fine, like you'll be okay. Like keep taking the medicine that we told you not to take 30 minutes ago. And he's like, "Yeah, like you can take the medicine we gave you or not, but like you're being discharged, so bye." We go home. I'm crying the whole way home. So I wake up the next day. My temperature was super high, like 103, like almost 104, and I just remember sitting there and I was in so much pain, couldn't move my neck, I was still throwing up blood, I was just nauseous, I didn't want to eat anymore, I just didn't want to do anything but lay in that bed and like wither away. I didn't want to shower, I couldn't move, my legs felt like they were gonna break in half. And Kayla looked at me and she said, "We are going back to that hospital and they are going to figure out what is wrong with you. You can't do this." This time Kayla comes with us because me and Caitlin kept telling her these people aren't taking us seriously, they're not doing anything for me. So we all get in the car. I can't even like make it out to seem like how bad I was just feeling. I was in the back of the car just like audibly moaning, just like trying to like get the pain out like vocally. So we get to the hospital. They're taking my temperature, it's still really high. Taking my blood pressure, it's still really low. Nothing's changing. Like I said, like I could not walk this time, like I just like couldn't. And this lady's like, "Okay, like let's go to the other room." My head's like literally like hanging like this and I'm like, "No, like I need a wheelchair, like I can't walk." And she looks at me. Oh, this lady has the audacity to look at me and she goes, "I think you can walk." I look at her and I'm just like, Kayla goes off on this woman. Kayla looks at her and she's like, "She says she can't walk? Get her a wheelchair." And the lady's like, "Okay." The doctor comes in, the nurse comes in, they're like, let's take some blood and let's see what your levels are looking like. So she comes in to take my blood. Now the thing with me is I have what they call like shallow veins. Ever since I was a baby, it's very, very hard to find my veins. The previous nurses that took my blood, I told this and they were like, okay, and they took it through like the normal spots like where they're supposed to. And I told this nurse and she goes, yeah, well, I'll find one. Like I had no energy to fight at this point. I was like, bitch, go for it. Did she find one? No. I literally still have the fucking bruise on my arm. It's not as bad as it first was, but like, look at that shit. Like, sorry. And that bruise is literally not from the vein. That's from her sticking the needle in my arm and like wiggling it around until she tried to find a vein. I'm really good with getting my blood taken and like getting IVs and stuff. I've never like audibly yelled or like been like, ow, or anything. But when she had the needle in my arm and she was just wiggling it around, I was looking Kayla like dead in her eyes and I was like yelling. At this point, she had the needle in my arm. Like I looked at the lady and I was like, I'm gonna pass out, and she's like, you're fine. And then Kayla's like, please take the needle out of her arm. She takes the needle out of my arm. She gives me a minute and then she puts it in here. She takes my blood and I just knew that I couldn't do this on my own anymore. So I call my mom and I basically tell her that I need to come home. I need you to come to Hawaii and retrieve my ass. And that was just so against like my character that like my mom knew it was serious. So we started looking at flights and my mom actually flew in the next day. Caitlin went and picked her up from the airport. My mom was in Hawaii. I instantly felt like this like relief fall over me. When my mom got to Hawaii, that's when I kind of start like forgetting things kind of. The first day my mom got there, she broke my fever instantly. She like did this like Spanish trick that she knows of. I think I was feeling a little bit better just because I wasn't so anxious. Like I was more at ease because I had my mom there. So a few days pass, I just start packing up my bags and I'm feeling better, but I'm also still really sick. And then I'm also starting to get sad because I realize I have to leave Caitlin and I'm leaving Hawaii. And I was just like this big old ball of fucking emotions, and it didn't help that I was so sick on top of all these emotions. Finally, the day comes where I leave Hawaii. I leave Hawaii on March 28th. So fucking sad. I was more sad to leave Caitlin than I was to leave Hawaii. Honestly, like I had been feeling really stressed out being in Hawaii and really just anxious and just like itching to like get out of there and like start like something new. We get to the airport. I have to be wheeled around in a wheelchair because I'm still so sick. So it was a 13-hour travel day. My legs were still really, really achy, and they really only felt good when they were like stretched out into a bed. And obviously I was in a seated position, and I hadn't really been seated like that at the house, so I didn't know that being in that position was going to fucking hurt me so bad. Oh my god. So I'm sitting there in the wheelchair, just, you know, propped up, and I look at my mom and I'm like, fuck. I start crying. I can't tell you how many fucking times I cried at the airport. So I go on the fucking airplane in my wheelchair. I sit down. Sitting down in the fucking airplane seat killed my legs. Like it felt like there was no blood running through my legs. Like my legs felt numb. So I literally had to sit with my toes like shoved into the pocket on the back of the airplane seat. It was such a mess, and I cried so many times on that airplane. People probably thought I was like insane. We land in Boston and we had to take an Uber back home. We get into the Uber. This lady probably thought I was the freak of the week. Okay, I get into this Uber, I throw the bags down. I tell my mom, sit up front, you're sitting up front. Get into this lady's car. I'm literally just like horizontal. Like, I need to lay the fuck down and go night night. Like, I'm not playing any more games. As soon as I got home though, we actually get a call from the Department of Health in Hawaii. This is the moment you guys were all waiting for. They tell me, hey, we don't think you have dengue. We think you have leptospirosis. And I was like, what the fuck is that? So the lady was like, so leptospirosis is actually super rare. Like there was only about 25 cases in 2015. We're not really sure if you have it though, because you get it from animal feces. You haven't really been around animal feces, have you? And I was like, no, I have. Actually, I was just starting to piece everything together. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck, brain blast, like holy shit, this is it. I was like, I have these cut on my ankles and I walked through animal shit and I was through like streams and stuff. This makes sense. The next day rolls around, the lady calls and she's like, ding 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 bitch, you've got leptospirosis. And I was like, hot. We go to the ER, they test my blood, they're like, ding 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 bitch, That's what it is. Instantly, he prescribes me medication. He tells me what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing, what medicines to take, what medicines not to take. I was just so fucking relieved that I was going to cure this disease that's in my body. I've been on my medication for a few weeks now. I'm doing good. As you can tell, I'm alive and functioning and well. Do I have anything else to say? I feel like that's it. To recap that whole story, if you didn't just sit through the whole thing, I got leptospirosis from a cut on my ankle getting infected with cow feces as I was hiking to a waterfall. So that's basically what happened. I just want to thank every single person who sent me kind words and just wished me well and like asked me how I was doing throughout the whole thing. People are still asking me how I'm doing. I'm doing great. Thank you guys so much for asking. It's crazy to me that I have so many people that care about me online, and like it's like insane to me. But yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't show you guys more of Hawaii and give you guys that cute Hawaiian montage that you guys were probably hoping for, but this is just the reality of my situation and what happened. So I wanted to give you guys that instead of this like, oh my god, like Hawaii was so great, like nothing bad happened at all, like let's just skip over the part where I died. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever the hell you do on YouTube videos. I don't know. If you guys watch my videos, you guys know I don't know how to end them, so I'm just gonna go, okay, bye.